Hi, welcome back to the StoryDads podcast. Today we're talking about Finding Nemo. This was my boy's favorite growing up. It's got great themes in it. It's a road trip movie. It's a buddy movie. It's a rescue movie. It's a father and son movie. It's the original Odd Couple with Nemo and Dory, and a real animation flex. Beautiful underwater animation. So we're going to talk about that and so much more. And thank you for coming. Join us.
Hey, Micah, we're back for an episode. We were just running the recording while we were still ranting about our past episode, Ralph Breaks the Internet from last week. So,
yeah.
Hopefully we're back for everyone with a bit of a palate cleanser today.
Well, see, you had a stomach bug since the last time I saw you, so you actually got all that stuff out. I'm still purging. I'm still purging Ralph Breaks the Internet. But today we have an excellent favorite, and that is Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo, which we've been talking about doing forever. I think, a couple episodes back, I teased like, we got Finding Nemo coming up. It kept getting pushed for a bunch of different reasons, but we're actually doing it today, which will be fun. This is a fun, very lighthearted movie, and from a very different time, certainly than our, Ralph Breaks the Internet stuff we were doing. So I'm excited to get into it.
Now, this movie is 23 years old.
Really?
Yeah, which still kind of baffles me. But
all this, like, I remember Finding Nemo. So 23 years old, that would have came out 2003.
Yeah, 2003. This came out.
Okay, so I would have been sophomore in high school, and I remember when this one came out, it was like, man, this new Pixar, and everyone's loving it. Like, it was all positive stuff, and not that because it wasn't the big emotional epic Pixar moments. There's some emotional stuff in there, but it's just kind of a fun jaunt all the way throughout.
Well, and like it was a real bizarre jump for Pixar, I think. Like, no one was expecting a whole movie about fish.
Money, okay?
And
call me a hippie, send me to hell.
Water is famously difficult to animate because nothing ever holds still, and the light is constantly changing. And so this was another one of those like flexes where they the way that The Little Mermaid was a flex for Walt Disney's 2D animation studio. Because they did underwater better than anyone had ever done underwater. And then Pixar goes, all right, like, let's,
we got the horses to do this one. We're gonna show you guys. Yeah.
And they really do. And an awesome story. And this is a part of that. There's a larger conversation about the, Pixar's corpus, where early on it was a lot more from the perspective of a parent. Okay. And then later on in Pixar's journey, more and more of their movies are about being a kid.
Okay, so unpack that. So like early Pixar, your Toy Stories.
Yeah, Toy Stories, they're relating to
Monsters Inc. we talked about. Yeah.
And so a lot of them have the feeling of like becoming a parent.
Yeah.
And improving as a parent and not the perspective of growing up being a kid, and that it has changed and it's become more about, and from a technical standpoint, it is more about like sort of being the stakes character versus being a protagonist that has a stakes character.
Are you talking in terms of like a coming of age, like the kids are learning to like grow up and take their place in whatever world they're in kind of thing, or how do you mean by that?
Yeah, that
because I think a lot of the newer movies that certainly have that. I haven't totally seen Turning Red, but I know that's a coming of age story, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that
Onward. Yeah, the boys growing up. Luca had that. The kids going off having their adventure.
And whatever the most recent one is, I haven't seen Elio.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but
that one's about like a kid growing up. So there's a lot of like kids growing up and finding themselves kind of thing. And whereas before there was a lot more of like maturation, like a story arc within maturation. Like
that's good.
How to be a good adult, like how to responsibly navigate in the world from a position of like, authority.
Sully and Mike figuring out what do we do with this kid that's entrusted in our care. Marlin figuring out my one child who's gotten taken. How do I go get him back? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So one of the things about this movie, so my first child. This was his first like on repeat go to every single time he wanted to watch a movie. This is what he wanted. It was the character that he talked about all the time. He was just like locked in on Finding Nemo.
Which was the character he fit? Oh, was it Marlin or was it Nemo or was it Dory?
I think it was Mimo.
Mimo. Okay.
I think he really liked Mimo and it like associated with the kid.
Yeah.
And he liked all the fish in the fish tank.
Okay.
In the dentist's office. Like he was really drawn to like those parts, but he also just like it made him love the ocean. And so he did not see the ocean until it was COVID and we were getting out of Altadena so that we could time travel back to pre-COVID just by going to Orange County. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And so we would go down, instead of going to Venice or Santa Monica to go to the beach, we would go down to San Clemente and everyone was like fine and cool and normal and you could go to restaurants and eat ice cream and stuff.
San Clemente's sweet too.
What's that?
San Clemente's awesome.
Oh yeah, San Clemente is awesome, and the pier is great, and the tide would come in. But so we got there, and it was the first time he had ever laid eyes on the actual ocean, and he was like 2 years and change. Okay. And we get him out of and he just bolts for the sea, like he's just like and like right into the waves, you know. So this movie, like, absolutely. Look, I already knew it was good, but then to have it, you know, and it completely captures your child. It becomes, you know,
well, when it captures your child and then it's on repeat, I mean, you know, that was premise of this podcast is like, just as a parent, you just start noticing all the little details. Of course, you know, it's like anything, you immerse yourself in a thing for a long time, you're gonna see all the magic behind it.
Yeah, and so one of the things, and I've mentioned this before, I think one of the things that stood out about this film to me is that almost all the characters have some kind of either a disability or a dependency or so, like, and it's
let's unpack funny because Nemo's got his little flipper.
Yeah, so Nemo's got his flipper, right? And his dad has got like crippling anxiety.
Okay,
and the sharks are all in dependent recovery,
eating disorders.
Eating disorders and addiction recovery.
Yeah.
And everyone in the fish tank is completely neurotic or handicapped in some way, right? Like what's his name? The cool guy, Willem Dafoe, has like the ripped, you know, he's all messed up.
Yeah.
And it's cool because it's not a thing. Whenever I mention this aspect of Nemo to people, they go, "What? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And it's because it's not like put in your face.
Yeah, that's really good. Because it's not like you think of Nemo as a big underwater sea adventure, like we're opening up this whole like magical underwater world. And you don't think of it as like, I heard a little bit with Finding Dory, like it's a statement on like mental health-ish kind of stuff, which it is, that's there. And it's a little bit more in your face in that one. But like this one, I think it's part of what makes the characters interesting. Like who's your character and what's their flaw? That's what this does well and makes the characters rich, but it's not cramming a message about that in.
Well, and the other thing is that whatever their inability is, it is not their character flaw. It is just part of their character.
Okay, so say more on that.
And so it's not like the thing you need to know about Nemo is he's got a gimpy fin.
Yeah.
But I'm already excited for all the ableist comments we're gonna get from this one. Like we got so many fun comments from our last one, and we'll get even more from this one. Ableism is BS. I'm gonna just say that, and you can just jump on me right now. And I'm more than willing to have you on the show and talk about it. But that these are just things that make these characters interesting. And it isn't like Nemo, his character flaw is that he doesn't want to listen to his dad and he is desperate to prove himself, right?
Yeah.
And so in a way, it's his
he doesn't care about his gimpy fin.
No, if anything, it's him being sensitive about his gimpy fin that lures him into an excess of his character flaw.
Yeah.
And if he could just accept himself for who he is, then it wouldn't add to that, right? But his need to like prove to everyone that he can do it, well, I mean, it kicks off the whole adventure.
Sure. Yeah. It's how he gets captured. You said the ableist thing. What's the cranky ableist comments with Nemo?
Oh, no, I just mean us talking about using the word like disability or inability is going to piss off people who are like super sensitive about ableism, and which is, you know, and
with Finding Nemo? I mean, look, I
No. I mean, in us, not that
I'm
Finding Nemo is ableist.
sure. No,
but
no.
you and I are ableist.
I'm not discounting people's ability to just oversensitize themselves through anything and find problems and anything to pick apart with that. But like the is it problematic to say that the kids movies that just treat disabilities or like whatever their gimpy issue is as like should be saying more about that? Like I love the way they treat them in this movie. I think it makes the characters more rich. It doesn't shove stuff in your face,
Right.
but you're saying there's a whole crowd of people saying like, no, you should have made more a thing about that, and we're salty that we didn't.
No. So maybe I'm just introducing a wrench to the works that doesn't need to be involved. But it's one of the subsets of critical theory.
Yeah.
Is like disability critical theory.
Yeah.
And the idea is that ableism is the oppressive minds, right? And so to be ableist is to consider, ableism the norm and disability, out of the norm, and that's an oppressed relationship, that dichotomy. And that
but I could also almost argue a movie like this is actually like all the characters have some sort of issue. It's not seen as not the norm, and the characters are really rich and good as part of it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
No, I what I think this movie does, frankly, is pay the lie to the entire idea of disability critical theory, because
we don't need to have some big top-down accommodation for all these characters' issues in order to make them able to function at work. They're just fact that they're just able to do it without needing some special whatever kind of shows like, hey, they're fine.
Well, and the thing about the theory is that it encourages, because it's always all about tribalism and it's always all about the revolution, but it encourages this tribalistic stance where you instead of saying that like so to use my crass language of Nemo, instead of him saying I have a gimpy fin, he would say I am my gimpy fin. Like, so it always comes back to identity politics. Really, it comes back to this idea that like I am my traits. I am not myself.
I'm identifying with my able flaw.
Yeah. And so he and Willem Dafoe's character are both, they are their gimpy fin. And so like for my daughter, for example, instead of them, the way the theory would work is, and they encourage people to engage with the world this way, is instead of saying like, I have Down syndrome, they'd say, I am Down syndrome. Like, I am my disability.
Right.
And you would never use the word disability, right?
Yeah.
Because that implies that, it's anything. It's othering oneself. And it's like,
totally.
But, I am my, hemorrhoid. Like, I'm just not going to go into the world that way, But, So anyway, not to get hung up on that, because I don't think it's worth getting hung up on, frankly.
No, I mean it's a sidetrack that's like what the movie could have been if it was told during a different time, and it just doesn't, and the movie shines as a result.
Right. And it's because these filmmakers, although I think they would go on to make sort of tribal errors in the future of their careers, these filmmakers are just phenomenal, consummate filmmakers who care desperately about story. And so they are not going to hijack or disservice their story in order to further some, agenda. And so this story is ultimately about, this father and son namogating the rift between them, and him, the dad learning to, to raise an adolescent. Nemo's becoming an adult, and
Marlin's kind of fun because he's got to go save his kidnapped son, but he's not doing Liam Neeson Taken here, where he's the big tough guy. I'm going to go kick ass until I get there. He's neurotic, and he's got to overcome his anxiety to get where he needs to go and face all the perils along the way. And Nemo's, he's got to do his part to kind of find his way back.
Yeah. And, what's interesting is the thing that Marlin and I don't remember the name of the character from Taken, but Marlin and Liam Neeson have the same like spine, which is I'm coming. Like no matter what, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And in a way, the Nemo movie is more fun than Taken because he is so like fish out of water, but because in Taken, you never have any doubt that he's gonna succeed.
Yeah.
But if Liam Neeson's character was, like a coder with Asperger's who never saw the sunshine and never been for a run, and it's like, all right, well, how the hell is he going to get her back now?
Yeah.
And so this awesome arc, and you get to see it in the movie when Nemo starts hearing stories, when he starts hearing the gossip from that seagull about where this clownfish came across the ocean. He's like, what?
Yeah.
And
it's not my dad. He's a
nerd. What a great arc,
Yeah.
So
the story itself, it feels very like, when I rewatched it a few weeks back, it's got that kind of episodic feel where now we're doing the shark part and then the anglerfish part. Then we're just like on the different steps of the way to get to Sydney where Nemo is, but it doesn't have a I don't know. It just feels like this big episodic adventure. I didn't necessarily. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, it's like a road trip movie. It's like bosom buddies. It's Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. Marlin is handcuffed to like the least useful companion imaginable.
Yeah,
who's also completely unlike him. Like she's unfazed. She has, no
anxiety,
neurosis.
She should,
and no. He is so. What is it? It's the thing about anxiety is that you're thinking about everything in the whole world all the time, which is part of why our whole society is completely anxious and neurotic and screwed up. Is because we keep watching the current events of the whole planet at the same time. We just can't do that. And then her character is the polar opposite, where she has nothing in her mind ever at all except what's happening right now,
right in front of her.
We take a quick break from our podcast to remind you to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell somebody that you heard an interesting conversation about a very interesting story. Bring friends. There's free t-shirts. There aren't any t-shirts, not yet. Which is, brilliant for their characters to kind of meet in the middle, which it would take 2 movies for them to do that. But so it's a road trip movie, and road trip movies are episodic.
Yeah. What? So I'm thinking of other famous road trip movies. Tommy Boy, David Spade, and Chris Farley. They go to the diner. They put gas in the car. They go to the sales pitches. And then ultimately they end up in the big place in Chicago at the end, but it's just kind of like a bunch of fun stuff and gags along the way.
Well, the Odyssey is a road trip.
Okay,
right?
And
Lord of the Rings is
the original road trip.
Yeah, exactly. It might be the first real road trip. The Book of Exodus is a road trip, right? Like, we're gonna set out from Egypt and we're going to Canaan, and then you go in circles and you have adventures,
Yeah, but it feels like there's a. I mean, I guess there is. I didn't see the here's the thing we got to learn along the way here. Like, what's the thing we find at the sharks that equips us for later? Because you could argue Moana has that, but I don't really think so. Because I think Moana, they do the coconut pirates, and then she gains a skill and they learn something, and then they go to the crab, and then they get the hook back, and then they learn something else, and it furthers things. And this one doesn't necessarily do that. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It's a different energy to it.
I guess I'm trying to think what the midpoint is when they meet the turtle, right? And
I feel like when they meet the turtle is now we're getting somewhere. Hey, you're almost there. We got, just jump on the back and we're on the highway and you're going to be there pretty soon, right? Up to that point, it just feels like we're just kind of wandering, and then we end up in this place and that place. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's been trying to get away from Dory, and then he goes back into the jellyfish to rescue her.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I think he shows voluntary bravery.
Yeah.
Where he hasn't been compelled into it, And so he's like, now I have to get her. So then they wake up on the turtle, and they know they have to get to that highway, right?
Yeah.
And so then they wake up on the highway, and I guess this is the first time that he witnesses good parenting. And
so Crush the turtle is letting his kid go out there on your own and try riding the highway yourself.
Go do something dangerous.
Yeah.
And so how does that change Marlin's pursuit? I think maybe it changes. He figures out it's not about like just getting Nemo back into the status quo. I think that's his first glimpse of like, no, it's actually about like an evolution of our relationships and an evolution of my parenthood and an evolution of Nemo.
Well, it's I'm learning to raise an adolescent, right, who's needing to go off and explore, and I'm not just going to keep him sheltered in, our little anemone home here, which one thing's fun, this is going back to the beginning. One of the things fun about his character is like he's got good reason to feel like that. His wife and all of his other children were eaten by this barracuda.
Oh yeah,
so he's got
just
a reason
the darkest
for his
opening to a movie imaginable, like just the mass murder of a bunch of babies.
Yeah.
The younglings.
Yeah. You think about that one for 2 seconds, you're like, "Whew, that was a dark one, right?" Yeah. Sets up the stakes for sure.
Yeah, so the stakes are definitely there, and then so it is a road trip movie, which is a quest. Like quests are road trip movies. Those are kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But he's got a storm. He's got to rescue him from jail, right? So he's in prison, and Nemo's been imprisoned, and so he's got to like raid the prison to rescue his son. Meanwhile, his son is trying to break out,
but he doesn't even. His son, like Nemo's breaking out of the prison. Marlin doesn't end up there at all. Yeah,
they ride in the Pelicans.
Oh, that's right.
Gullet and get up there.
That's right.
And so he does kind of like get in there to break him out, and then they escape through the drain.
Yeah. But by that point, he's realizing it's mostly Nemo's like creativity and his skills that he's developed with all these other prisoners in there that he's learned on his own without dad, without someone protecting him. And hey, this kid's actually capable.
Yeah. And so what they get to discover is that not only is the kid capable, but so is Marlin.
Yeah.
And both of them get to be more than they become more than they were when they started.
Yeah.
So much so. And so does Dory, because it's this, this team effort here.
Yeah.
So much so that they rescue all those fish, right? Their valor spills over into society.
Yeah.
And allows them into the larger area and allows them to rescue all these fish, and then so they
set the captives free.
Yes, they set the captives free, right? And through the reparation of this relationship between father and son. So together they're capable of something that they're not capable apart.
Yeah.
And Marlin has to take on the mantra of Dory, right? When he's like, just keep swimming. And so it's her mantra with Nemo's, go get him, and his inability to quit.
Yeah.
And
his persistence is how he overcomes his anxiety, his flaw.
Yeah. And so then, of course they return with the elixir at the end, and they go back to their reef, and then it's like this wonderful little place where everybody is integrated, and Dory has a home, and and Marlin and Nemo have this repaired relationship, and it's a little bit like when you watch Master and Commander.
Okay.
And you're just like, you get to the end and you're like, that was awesome. Like that was just a great movie.
Yeah.
And And Nemo, there's nothing in Nemo that changes your world. Like it doesn't just blow it.
It's a very simple story. It doesn't I heard a thing of these guys talking about the Pixar moment, the big emotional thing, the Riley collapsing into her parents' arms at the end of Inside Out, or the Onward where they probably finally meets his dad. It doesn't have that, and it's not trying to. It's not going for that moment. It's a fun adventure. It brings this setting to life, and then by the end you're just like, that was just a fun ride. That was just a fun hang.
Yeah, and part of it, thinking about it, one of the things that is also like Master and Commander and like these other really good quest and adventure movies is that the characters are so good and compelling. And that you meet really, really interesting characters along the way. And is so often writers can get hung up on plot. And they think that the movie is composed of the plot. And it's like, no, a movie has a plot. It needs a strong plot, but it does not need a lot of plot. It needs a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And the characters need to motivate your adventure. And I guess that's the thing to remember from this quest,
Yeah.
is every one of these episodes is the interaction with a bizarre character that's very well formed, and it is the interaction with those characters that actually further the story.
Yeah, because that's what Nemo does so well, is all the characters are fun. They meet the sharks with the word fish are friends, not food, and that's kind of a fun little thing, and it's memorable and it's clever, and it gives, you know, those characters some depth. And then we kind of play in that episode for a minute, and then, you know, the surfer dude turtles, and that's a fun little moment. And then everyone, it's like, I remember even afterwards, I remember people saying that like fish are friends, not food was kind of a saying people had for a while. And then the surfer dude crushed turtle thing was a total thing for a while. And then everyone's buying clownfish and just keep swimming was a line. And it's
just keep swimming.
Just rich with all that. It's just rich with all that stuff.
And it's the character interaction that furthers the plot and not vice versa. Like there isn't a really clear red X on the map with the dotted line to it where you're just like, I'm just doing what the, you know, the quest text tells me. It's like, had they not engaged with the sharks, then they wouldn't have wound up with the dive mask and the abyss thing. And then had they not engaged with that lanternfish and with Dory, with each other, they wouldn't have gotten the mask back and gotten the address, and, you know, on and on and on. And then engaging with like the school of fish that tell them how to get to the opera house. And so it all, and talking to the whale. And so it is, you know what it is? It's a movie about community. Because ultimately it was community that they began in that was fractured, and it's community that they return to that's made whole. As they learn to behave in community, which is, and you know, it's funny because I was just thinking about this morning, is, you know, that phrase like diversity is our strength is, well, no, actually university is our strength. And if our differences just make us different and then we're divergent from one another, that doesn't actually strengthen our community.
There's got to be something that holds it together, right?
Right. And so the university, which is the e pluribus unum, it's from many one, right? And so when that whole, and yes, they are diverse, but it's that without that coming together, it's just diaspora. It needs this unification.
It can't just be this homogenous, everyone's in lockstep and doing the exact same thing, right? But there does need to be a uniting principle or idea or something that makes us all community that we're all striving for. Otherwise, it's just chaos and it won't hold.
And I think the thing that holds the Nemo characters together is all of them are becoming more than they were. And this idea that like we can all accomplish things, you know, together.
Well, so growth. We're trying to better ourselves. We're trying to push for. I think of, I've mentioned it on this podcast a couple of times, but like the therapy groups I run, right? It's groups of men that are coming to face an issue that they've long known has been a problem. And I got guys in their 20s. I got guys in their 70s in these groups. I have guys from all sorts of different stages of life, backgrounds, whatever. Why are we all here? It's because we've all hit a point in life where something is not working and I want to do something to make that better. And man, I got guys calling each other from across the state, across like long distances, have not known each other, but they both landed in this group and now they're forming like genuine relationships because of that pursuit for something better. This isn't working, and we all have this shared struggle.
And they aren't satisfied to remain in whatever identity they could. They go, look, I'm just a porn addict, and that's just me. You know, I am my addiction. Or go like, I'm just a philanderer, man. Like I got to go find a polycule and live with 8, you know, other people that are also like me. And like, that's just me, man. They're saying, no, I'm committed to growth and something else. And willing to make the changes. And then that allows them to be in community with people that are very, very unlike them in other markers. And when
which is very helpful because people have different ideas and blind spots, and we can point those out, and all the richness comes of that. But you cannot get to any of those things if you don't have a shared something that drives it forward.
And if I insist on remaining and retaining that thing that makes me separate from you, then I ignore the things that make us alike.
Well, then you can't. Then it's it's no longer a fit for a group that's trying to do that. We're not, we are pulling in different directions now. And if one person is going the route of like, well, I'm just going to try to accept who I am, and this is just like where I'm supposed to be, you're not going to fit in a group of people that's like, no, I'm actually trying to overcome the struggle and kind of make it better. Right. And look, if that's what someone wants to do, like, okay, I'm not going to say they're not allowed to do that, but the ability to connect across those lines is severed.
Yeah. And it turns out that it is the ability to connect across those lines that makes our distinctions more acceptable. It turns out that,
oh yeah,
like for example, growing up, growing up in the 90s on the West Coast, like we were all colorblind. Like and so I look back on all my buddies back then, and I frankly forget what anyone's racial markers or indicators were because we didn't think about it. And I look back and I go, oh yeah, that's right. We had like, United Colors of Benetton, like friend group,
Yeah.
And we would make fun of each other all the time because those things didn't matter. And so we actually got to enjoy our differences in a way that made them.
Yeah, and it was playful and it was fun. And we know we like each other. And it's not this like, well, it feels different if you're poking fun at these other things. And it's someone like, it feels like an out-group thing, and it feels like I'm denigrating. It feels like I'm putting that down. Right. Now it's like, now we got beef. Now there's a problem, but like.
Right. Oh yeah, other people were not allowed to make fun of our friends the way we made fun of them because we had the relationship, we had the community, we had that university where we had no doubts about our common goals and our common love for one another. And then you look also, every military buddy that I've got, and their military friends are also, they're full of different races and creeds and backgrounds, and they make fun of each other mercilessly because they all had a common cause.
Totally. I mean, there's a, I don't know if it was Instagram or YouTube thing I saw, but it was this guy talking about like playing video games with his buddies. And like, we got one friend who's got Down syndrome, and he's one of the guys. He's our buddies, right? Sometimes he'll just run his mouth and keep talking and no one knows what he's talking about. Sometimes you just gotta tell him to shut the F up. And it's like, it's a mark of like being in the friend group. And he's like, every once in a while we'll have like a new guy who joins and they hear the way we talk, like, I can't believe you're talking to him like that. That's so mean. And we're like, okay, you just wait. Right. Yeah. And then eventually they get to the point where they're like, dude, can you just shut the F up? And they're like, oh, now you're actually his friend. Now you're actually like his real bud because you feel comfortable enough to be able to say, like, dude, this is too much, man.
Yeah.
Something about that just like warms my heart. All part of it's just like how guys relate, but it's also like I care about this person and I'm not going to let the disability like inform whatever, treat him with kid gloves, and I care about him. Like, at the end of the day, we're just dudes playing video games with each other.
And if his friends did not treat him that way, it would not be kind. They would actually not be engaging with him as an equal.
No.
And it's like, if I can't risk upsetting you, then you aren't my equal.
Yeah.
And so that's what you see in the Nemo community when they all come back together. Like, they call each other out on their idiosyncrasies and they enjoy them. And granted that it requires the love in the community, which on a larger scale we no longer have because we're all fractious across the internet and don't actually spend
on the
time
internet.
on
the internet, I think that is often true. I think in real life that is very much there more than most people realize. And I think you gotta acknowledge it when it's there. Like, no, it's still there, and this is good, and we probably need more of that. And the loud voices around, no, you're not allowed to, whatever. It's like, no, just let people relate and like put your attention to the places it actually is in your life rather than the places where it just feels so fractured, because I feel like that just feeds that more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that love and compassion and acceptance it just heals all those rifts.
Yeah.
And it's what makes community possible, and community necessitates some kind of variance within it. And they did such a good job depicting it in this movie because every character, even within a school of fish, there'll be like the one who's like, I'm obnoxious, like he's different than the other one. I think he's an
Right.
angelfish or something,
Yeah,
because he's got this other quality and this other marker to him.
Yeah.
So anyway,
so villain comeuppance, is there one in this? There's not
the
villain.
closest thing to a villain is the little girl who kills fish.
Okay. Yeah.
And what's her comeuppance? I mean, she gets sort of like run out of there
Yeah.
with the animals going crazy. And so, yeah, I don't think there is a villain in this. This is
It almost feels more like a man versus nature story than
Yeah.
a like man versus man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is often the case with like a road trip movie or something like this.
We got to get where we need to go. We got to overcome the challenges and insecurities within ourselves. But yeah, there's not an antagonist in it, really.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the real prize is the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. So this is fun. It was, I like what you said about it being very character driven and viewing. I think that's the right way to view it. If you're looking at it it feels interesting trying to analyze this from our StoryDads perspective, because it's so much about the characters and what them being together says than like, it's not a hero's journey story necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, it has the markers in terms of like hitting the plot points and the midpoint and the innermost cave. They're inside the belly of a whale, and so that they hit those spots, but it's not your typical.
Yeah.
Well, it's very atypical, just like the characters. So
yeah. So yeah, fun hang. Any other kind of last thoughts wrapping up Nemo?
Well, I mean, it passes the kid test for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I would say it's one of those where pretty much any age kid can engage with this one and get into it. It's colorful, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any songs stuck in your head because they don't ever sing. There's no music in this one.
Yeah. No, so it's fun. So yeah, this is a short and sweet one. Hope you guys enjoyed Finding Nemo. We're coming back next week with Incredibles. We've been teasing that with Joseph Barclay for a while now. I think we're finally going to get him pinned down to actually record with us again. So
we're finally going to do it. And then we'll bring on the Story Dads are going to bring in a story mom for the first time. We'll get a lady in the house.
It'll be good. Get a different perspective than us two dudes. With Mulan after that. So we'll see. Schedules have shifted around a handful, so we'll let you know if anything changes. But hope this was a good palate cleanser for you guys coming off of Ralph Breaks the Internet. We'll have some more like that in case you enjoyed it coming down the pike. But fun discussing Finding Nemo with you today.
Yeah, you too, brother.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Well, that was another episode of Story Dads. If you made it this long, thank you so much. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, please tell a friend, or you know what, just get in a conversation about a really good story. And if you haven't watched any really good stories lately, get into one. Don't hesitate. We love stories around here, and we love you. See you next time.